Most people think getting stronger means doing more exercises, spending more time in the gym, and pushing through longer workouts. But if that were true, the strongest people in the world would have the most complicated training programs. The reality is very different. If you could choose only 3 exercises to build total body strength, most experienced strength coaches, powerlifters, and athletes would point to the same movements: the deadlift, the squat, and the pull-up. These exercises have survived decades of fitness trends for one simple reason: they work. Together, they train nearly every major muscle group in the body, improve real-world strength, and teach your body to generate force the way it was designed to. But here's the interesting part. What makes these 3 exercises so powerful isn't just the muscles they train, it's what they teach the entire body to do. And understanding that difference may completely change the way you think about strength training. Before we break down each exercise, we need to understand why so many people work incredibly hard in the gym, yet still struggle to become truly strong. Imagine 2 people starting their fitness journey on the same day. The first person performs 15 different exercises every workout. They chase muscle soreness, constantly switch routines, and spend hours in the gym each week. The second person focuses primarily on 3 movements: the squat, the deadlift, and the pull-up. They gradually improve their technique, add small amounts of resistance over time, and stick to the basics. A year later, one of them can move furniture with ease, carry heavy luggage without struggling, and lift weights that once seemed impossible. The other is still busy searching for the perfect workout. The difference isn't effort, it's exercise selection, and that's exactly why these 3 movements deserve your attention. The frustrating truth is that many people are working harder than ever and getting surprisingly little stronger. They show up consistently, sweat through intense workouts, and leave exhausted. Yet months later, lifting a heavy suitcase, carrying groceries, or moving furniture doesn't feel much easier. Effort is important, but effort alone is not a guarantee of strength. Part of the problem is what many lifters chase inside the gym. They chase the burn, the pump, the feeling that a muscle has been pushed to its limit. While that sensation can be satisfying, it is not the same thing as becoming stronger. A muscle can feel completely exhausted without creating the kind of adaptation that improves real-world force production. The body doesn't reward discomfort, it rewards effective stress. The strongest people tend to understand a principle that others miss. They focus less on how a workout feels and more on what it demands from the body. Instead of collecting exercises, they build mastery around movements that require coordination, stability, and progressively greater force. That difference may seem small, but it changes everything. One of the biggest misconceptions in fitness is that strength starts with bigger muscles. In reality, it starts in the brain. When you first begin strength training, much of your early progress comes from the nervous system becoming better at recruiting muscle fibers, coordinating movement, and generating force. This is why beginners often become noticeably stronger before they look noticeably different. That also explains why compound movements consistently outperform isolated exercises when the goal is strength. Movements that require multiple joints and muscle groups to work together force the nervous system to coordinate the entire body as a single unit. Instead of training one muscle in isolation, you're teaching the body to produce force efficiently, which is exactly how strength works outside the gym. History offers plenty of evidence. Long before modern machines existed, Olympic lifters, wrestlers, laborers, and strongmen built extraordinary strength using simple, demanding movements that challenged the whole body. They weren't trying to isolate muscles, they were training the body's ability to move, stabilize, and generate power as one connected system. That's a lesson that remains just as relevant today. If there is one exercise that repeatedly earns the respect of strength coaches, athletes, and powerlifters, it's the deadlift. At first glance, it seems almost too simple. You pick a weight up from the ground and stand up with it. But beneath that simplicity is one of the most demanding strength movements ever created. Few exercises require as much total body coordination, tension, and force production in a single effort. What makes the deadlift especially powerful is how closely it mirrors real life. Outside the gym, strength is rarely tested while sitting in a machine. It's tested when lifting a heavy box, moving furniture, carrying luggage, or picking up a child. The deadlift trains the exact movement pattern humans have relied on for generations, making its benefits highly transferable to everyday tasks and athletic performance alike. And then there's what happens beneath the surface. The deadlift targets what's known as the posterior chain, the powerful network of muscles running along the backside of the body. The glutes, hamstrings, lower back, upper back, core, and grip all work together to move the weight, instead of strengthening one area at a time. The deadlift teaches these muscles to function as a coordinated unit, creating a foundation of strength that reaches far beyond the gym floor. If the deadlift is often called the king of strength exercises, the squat is its closest rival. For centuries, humans have depended on the ability to lower themselves and rise back up again. The squat strengthens the muscles that make this possible, including the quadriceps, glutes, hips, and core. More importantly, it teaches these muscles to work together, creating a foundation of lower body strength that supports nearly every athletic and everyday movement. The benefits extend far beyond the gym. Every time you stand from a chair, climb stairs, get out of bed, or pick something up from the floor, you're relying on the same movement pattern. Research consistently shows that lower body strength is strongly linked to mobility, balance, and independence as we age. In many ways, maintaining the ability to squat well is maintaining the ability to move through life confidently. Yet, despite its benefits, the squat is often surrounded by fear, especially when it comes to knee health. The reality is more nuanced. For most healthy individuals, properly performed squats do not damage the knees. In fact, they can strengthen the muscles and connective tissues that support them. Problems usually arise from poor technique, excessive loading, or pre-existing injuries, not from the squat itself. When performed correctly, it remains one of the safest and most effective ways to build lasting strength. The pull-up has a way of exposing the truth. Unlike many gym exercises, it doesn't care how much weight you can stack on a machine or how impressive your workout looks. You either have the strength to lift your body to the bar, or you don't. That's what makes it one of the most honest tests of functional strength ever created. It demands coordination, control, and force from the back, shoulders, arms, and core all at the same time. More importantly, the pull-up introduces a different kind of strength, relative strength. This isn't about how much weight you can move. It's about how effectively you can move yourself. Athletes, climbers, gymnasts, and military personnel have long understood that controlling your own body through space is one of the most useful forms of physical capability. In many real-world situations, your body is the load you must manage. Then there's a surprising connection that extends beyond performance. Researchers have repeatedly found that grip strength is strongly associated with overall health, physical function, and even longevity. While a pull-up is far more than a grip exercise, every repetition challenges your ability to hold, stabilize, and control your body. In that sense, each pull-up measures not only strength, but a quality that appears closely tied to long-term resilience. One of the most frustrating moments in strength training is realizing that hard work is no longer producing results. The workouts are still happening, the effort is still there, yet the weights refuse to move, progress slows, and strength seems to hit an invisible ceiling. This plateau often isn't caused by a lack of dedication. It's caused by giving the body the same challenge over and over again until it has no reason to adapt further. This is where the principle of progressive overload changes everything. The human body is remarkably efficient. It adapts to the demands placed upon it and then seeks stability. To continue getting stronger, those demands must gradually increase. Sometimes that means adding a little more weight. Sometimes it means performing an extra repetition, improving technique, or moving with greater control. The exact method matters less than the principle itself. The challenge must continue to grow. What's remarkable is how small these improvements can be. Adding just a few pounds to a lift, performing one additional pull-up, or improving movement quality by a tiny margin may seem insignificant in a single workout. But strength is built through accumulation. Small gains repeated consistently over months can transform someone from struggling with basic movements to performing feats that once seemed impossible. The strongest people are rarely making giant leaps. They're making small improvements that never stop adding up. The good news is that building serious strength doesn't require living in the gym. For most people, 3 focused training sessions per week are enough. A simple routine built around squats, deadlifts, and pull-ups can provide nearly everything needed to develop total body strength. The goal isn't to cram as much work as possible into each session. The goal is to perform the right work consistently. This is where many people make training harder than it needs to be. They add more exercises, more sets, and more workout days, believing volume is the answer. But strength often responds better to quality than quantity. A few challenging sets performed with focus and progression can outperform hours of unfocused training. Consistency beats intensity when measured over months and years. Just as important is what happens after the workout ends. Strength is not built while lifting weights. It's built during recovery. Muscles repair, the nervous system adapts, and the body becomes stronger when given adequate sleep, nutrition, hydration, and rest. Neglecting recovery is like trying to build a house while removing bricks from the foundation every night. And then there are the mistakes that quietly sabotage progress. Constantly switching programs, chasing workout trends, ignoring technique, and testing maximum strength too often can all slow development. The strongest lifters usually follow a different path. They stay patient, master the basics, track their progress, and allow small improvements to accumulate over time. In a fitness industry filled with endless trends, complicated workout systems, and constantly changing advice, the fundamentals continue to stand the test of time. The deadlift, the squat, the pull-up. 3 exercises, 1 powerful goal. Building a stronger, more capable body. You don't need dozens of machines. You don't need a different routine every week. And you certainly don't need to spend your life in the gym. What you need is consistency, patience, and a willingness to master the basics. Because real strength isn't about impressing people for a moment. It's about carrying your groceries without effort, lifting your children with confidence, moving through life with freedom and independence, and becoming just a little stronger than you were yesterday. Then, doing it again tomorrow.